If you enjoyed the 1988 NES original, you're absolutely going to adore Blaster Master Zero. This 3DS and Switch remake, well, at least for now, is a love letter to retro game fans and a great way to reboot what will hopefully become a new franchise. While nowhere near as challenging as the original, nor NES games as a whole, there's still a lot of fun to be had with this affordable eShop release. The same classic gameplay you know and love from the original game is preserved here, and it's fantastic. Essentially, the gameplay is broken up into 3 different elements. One, while driving the Sophia 3 around, where you can use both a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. Eventually, you'll gain the ability to fly, and, well, a lot more. Next, Jason hops out of the Sophia 3 and explores on foot. These areas are often much shorter and usually a means to enter a cave or to move the Sophia 3 to another area by triggering a lift or some such device. The problem with these sections is that poor old Jason can't survive much of a fall at all, which is realistic but seems at odds with everything else the game throws at you. The final gameplay element occurs when Jason enters a cave. That's when the camera zooms in on him and you have full 360-degree movement. These areas play more akin to a shooter like Contra's 3D maps. The combination of all 3 elements come together to make a highly enjoyable and rewarding experience if the game grabs you. Overall, the structure is simple and follows the classic Metroidvania-style gameplay. You can traverse 8 subworlds with increasingly difficult enemies. As you acquire new power-ups, you can then backtrack to find secrets in the previously explored areas. It's all classic stuff you've experienced before, but with the unique gameplay, it actually does feel fresh and engaging. There's even a surprising multiplayer mode of sorts. While one player moves around using the Sophia 3, a second player can take control of a reticule on the screen and shoot enemies that they see. It's nothing overly special, but it's still a fun little diversion. More or less, the story is unchanged from the NES original, although this time things are a bit more fleshed out. Jason finds a frog, just as before, enters a portal and winds up in a strange new land that is infested with mutants. It's a good thing there just so happens to be a super powerful tank called the Sophia 3 right near the portal where Jason pops out of. So he hops in and takes the fight to the mutants. It's really silly, but it does a decent enough job to keep you engaged as you play through the game. But for the most part, this is a game that you're playing primarily because of the gameplay and not so much for the story. There's something very appealing about the way Blaster Master Zero looks and sounds. It feels like a souped-up NES game with great use of color, fantastic music, and great sound effects. Each of the 8 areas look vastly different than the last, with classic tropes and designs such as a water area, ice area, etc., all making an appearance. It's all good and really harkens back to a simpler time. The gameplay tweaks are fun and all, but they can make the game extremely easy. Both Jason and the Sophia 3 have separate health bars. The secondary weapons also have their own health bar. For example, while in the Sophia 3, you can fire homing missiles so long as your ammo bar is full. There's no specific limit to how many you can shoot though. Stay still for a few seconds and the bar will slowly replenish. And depending on the situation, you can actually just stay behind an object and blast your way to victory with no challenge whatsoever. This is very evident when you're playing in the top-down mode in the caves. Here, when you get hit, you not only lose some health, but you can also take weapon damage. And the higher your weapon bar gets, the more interesting weapons you have access to. At level 8, you can unleash glory upon your enemies with a devastating attack that goes through walls and decimates just about anything it touches. Even bosses will be complete pushovers once you have this weapon. While short games like this are a blast to pick up and play, the experience is more or less over after about 6 or 7 hours. That's including a 100% completion rating. Therefore, there aren't really that many reasons to return once you've found everything. There is a secret ending, but again, you may actually unlock that during your first playthrough. Blaster Master Zero is a fun remake of an NES classic that far too few people ever experienced. I'm really hoping this sells well, and Inti Creates comes back with a more challenging and lengthy experience next time around. It's a very fun entry on the eShop that I can easily recommend to lifelong retro fans.